Each of these players is definitely experienced in these type of high-pressure situations. Prize cards going out, a 1-1 line of Lugia V-Star for Rahul, that one of Halucha in the prizes for Zach Lesage. A couple of Professor's Research could prove to be problematic, and then also that Weird Deer V in the prizes for Rahul as well. 3 energy cards to boot.
Weird Deer V potential being key.
5 Vincha, a Minchino, my opponent goes after it. Hey, that's a 1 prize knockout. Maybe that is something that does not work in their favor. Here we go, win and in. Final Swiss round underway, and it will be Zach Lesage kicking things off and immediately discarding a massive card for this matchup, Haxorus.
Haxorus with those 2 powerful attacks, 230 damage will be enough to knock out those Lugia Vs quickly before they evolve. And the other attack allowing you to immediately take a knockout on anything that has a special energy attached, which can be stopped by Mist Energy, which crucially enough, Rahul only plays a single copy of Mist Energy. The trend has been so far 3-4 to protect from those Phantom Dive damage counters, but bring down the axe could be very crucial this time around.
Yeah, Zach Lesage is definitely going to be trying to bring down the axe. And honestly, that Dragon Pulse attack is also very strong. It is a little costly. You have to discard the top 3 cards of your deck, but it's one of the ways Zach Lesage could turn to knock out a Lugia V on Rahul's side. Looks like Zach Lesage has chosen to just get a basic fire energy. Makes me wonder if a Squawkabilly EX is already waiting in the hand.
Usually a good indication. No need to discard too many resources if that's going to be the case. We do see Regidragos hitting the field. Perhaps no.
Oh, didn't want to get the extra energy because I think he's going to need to thin his hand down for the restart. Yeah. In order to do that, though, he would have had to play the Temple of Sinnoh in his hand. And I think wisely here, Zach Lesage has recognized holding off on Temple is going to be the move. We're over to Rahul Reddy's side. He has started with that Raikou V, a really interesting inclusion in this list, and immediately plays the Capturing Aroma, does flip a heads. This will allow him to search the deck for any evolution Pokemon and put it directly into his hand. Of course, grabbing that Archeops from the deck immediately. Really want to be discarding those Archeops as quickly as possible and set up for a turn 2 Summoning Star.
Now, I see Rahul shaking his head, maybe not super happy at flipping that heads with the Capturing Aroma. I can't really tell what the rest of his hand is looking like. Does have an Ultra Ball, can thin out that 1 Arceus. Maybe was looking to get a tail flip to get that Luminion V in order to jack, get the double Arceus going, but looks like he's gonna have to find a different way, perhaps having to use, oh no, does have double Ultra Ball. There we go, not bad.
He's got those nice gold Plasma Freeze Ultra Balls, iconic in the Pokemon TCG, one of the strongest cards in the history of the game, and that is one of the rarest ways you could be playing this card. And yeah, it's a pretty awesome start, especially because Rahul is playing Squawkabilly EX, and he has a Nest Ball here to go get a basic Pokemon, which will be that Lugia V. Place it directly onto the bench. This is shaping up to be really nice. Both of these players having really interesting inclusions as far as cards go in their lists for the weekend. What do you think about the 2 choices here from Rahul that we see? Raikou V, Squawkabilly EX.
Definitely very peculiar inclusions. Raikou, if you're expecting a high amount of mirror matches, makes sense to have access to a secondary lightning type attacker that's very efficient energy-wise. And then Squawkabilly, we've seen it have so much presence throughout the tournament in Regidrago V-Star, maybe not as much as in Lugia, but perhaps this is going to change moving forward.
Back over to Zach Lesage's side of the field. Has an energy card, top deck that Superior Energy Retrieval, not a useful card at this moment. And it looks like Iono will potentially be the choice, and he is going to choose to put that Temple of Sinnoh into play right away.
That's a perfect way to offset that Legacy Energy, really preventing the 2-2 price trade-off potentially, which is something Zach really wants to do. Doesn't really mind going after the Arceus, especially if there's no threat of Minchino at this point in time. Will just try to get through 2 Pokemon, and don't think he drew too well off of that Iono chip, though. There's Ogre Pawns, but there's no energy. There's a Squawk, there's a couple switching cards, but nothing really too impactful. I think we're gonna need a big restart here for Zach to do something.
And it may come down to that restart. There are plenty of cards he could draw. And wow, how about this? Even just benching the Squawkabilly so that he is able to draw more cards with the restart. Ultra Ball and the Giratina V-Star. That can find that Regidrago V-Star, and we may be seeing the Apex Dragon.
We might. Does depend on this Legacy Star right here. I mean, finding only one Grass Energy plus an energy switch doesn't seem like a difficult task, right? But you're at the mercy of the top 7 cards, right? So
and
right
it
now,
does have to be specifically a Grass Energy. Earthen Vessel does not work because Zach would not have enough cards to discard from his hand.
It's gonna be the energy switch and the grass. No other combination of cards help Zach here accomplish what he wants to do, which is a first knockout. And seeing Rahul with the double Archeops in the discard pile already, 2 Lugia Vs down.
Very threatening position without a doubt. It's on to Zach's Apex Dragon attack to be powered up via this Legacy Star. 7 cards flipped. There's the energy switch.
2.
Needs to find a grass, and no!
Grass.
Rahul fist pumping, recognizing the situation. You can tell these players totally aware of what the other needs, and Zach is unable to find it, and also has had to mill some pretty good resources. 2 energy switch down now for no use.
Dang, this is really rough here for Zach, missing that knockout, that turn to attack. Like, usually you want to avoid using Legacy Star to get the attack going, but now you've used it and you didn't even get to do it. Now, there's still unutilized Teal Dance abilities, right? So Zach could still chance into 1 more energy switch, but now he just discarded 2 of them. So
then at this point, you know, if he does even find an energy switch, he's expended so many resources to get to that point.
Now, with no Minccino in play, with the weirder prize, Rahul doesn't have any way to deal with an incoming Regidrago V-Star. So it's going to be really lucky if Zach pulls this off, but if he does, he's going to be sitting very pretty right now.
He is going for it. Draw from the 1 Teal Dance, has yet 1 more.
Festival, and
this card is the Fire Energy. Look at the sportsmanship showing.
What's up his cards? Not even going to ask Rahul, do you have the Lugia V-Star? Do you have a way to get 2 prizes? He just immediately scoops. We go on to game 2.
Wow, I mean, I am a fan of an aggressive concession in a best-of-3 format, but that might have been a little too early. I think I would have waited to see Rahul put Lugia V-Star in play, and then maybe, yes, you're too far behind, go on from there. But it's not guaranteed that Rahul would even find Lugia V-Star, but as it stands, Zach has conceded game number 1. Rahul jumps ahead 1-0 in this series, and now he finds himself just 1 game away from top cut at the Pokemon Trading Card Game World Championships.
That is a very aggressive scoop, which in many situations I like. This one is very, very, I don't know, delicate, right? But I mean, Zach has his game plan. Yeah, he knows what he's doing. He's gotten to this point not by coincidence,
Of course. Wow, what an interesting way that game played out. Wow, yeah, I mean, Zach revealed a lot of tricks there in that game that Rahul maybe wouldn't have been aware of otherwise, right? I mean, we saw the Hackstress hit the discard pile. We saw the Temple of Sinnoh coming into play. Zach even revealed both of the copies of Switch that he plays, which is an abnormal count of that card. So Rahul is aware of everything. I mean, even all the way down to the Radiant Gardevoir, Rahul now knows how to approach this matchup.
All the unique cards that Zach had coming into this, which perhaps at this point, right, with these players continually being at the top tables, probably sitting very close to each other a lot of the times, like, you're bound to find out a little bit, right? But seeing all of them and then not getting utilized effectively at all, Rahul must be in the sky right now.
Yeah, both of these players are also very well networked, right? Have plenty of friends, quite the entourage of people to help them out when it comes to what techs or other people playing in their list throughout the weekend. So I'm sure as they were both getting ready to walk up to their stream match, they were getting little tips and tricks here from their friends about, hey, Zach plays this, and to Zach, hey, Rahul plays this, right? Just so they would know, because I mean, both of these lists have very abnormal inclusions, to say the least.
Yeah, very peculiar. Regidrago and Lugia V-Star definitely out of the norm, but hey, paying off so far for Rahul. Had a very strong start, accomplished the main job right, which is get Lugias down, get Arceus in the discard pile, did it very effectively, and that's all he needed to do. Yeah, it worked out for him really, really well.
Game number 2. I know we didn't see too much from either of these players. I mean, Rahul only played 1 turn pretty much. Zach played out 2 full turns. With the information they both have now at this point, how would you like to see this matchup be approached? I mean, Zach will presumably be choosing to go first here.
I do believe I saw him choose or establish that he's going first, which makes sense, right? You get the possibility to get the first 2 prizes, be the aggressor, use your setup possibilities to get closer to winning, and pressure any possible Minchinos, which so far Zach hasn't seen. But I feel like getting to this point, you have to be running at least 1, which I think is the bare minimum. It's just so good as a Pokemon to trade with the 2 prize Pokemon, and we are getting this game started at the table. Already Zach going for that Teal Dance.
Teal Dance attaches energy, draws a card. Draw was, I believe, an Earthen Vessel, or was it that Giratina V-Star? Looks like it will be an Ultra Ball, discarding the Giratina V-Star and also the Squawkabilly. That could be a huge hint to the strength of Zach Lesage's hand.
Yep, Squawkabilly, of course, gives you the possibility to find cards that you might need for next turn, but Zach saying, hey, I'm good with my hand. So it's indirect information, right, that Rahul now has. Makes an Iono even more appealing, but of course Iono doesn't help Rahul discard Arceus most likely, so that's always a tough decision between the supporter choice for Lugia V-Star players. They want to disrupt, but they need to focus on accomplishing the Arceus discard first.
Prizes for Zach didn't seem too bad. Did have an energy switch prize, which can be annoying. A couple of supporter cards as well, 1 Iono and 1 Research. That one of Canceling Clone would come up in certain matchups, not super relevant in this one. So I think Zach is going to be okay overall with those prize cards. And we do have a little bit of an update from the floor. Fernando Cifuentes is in with Iron Thorns EX, locking up a record of 10 and 230 match points. Safe to make it in. Tough break for Brandon Baum, who was his opponent in that round because Brandon was playing Lugia and Fernando was playing Iron Thorns. So
yeah, that doesn't.
That's tough.
Yep.
Makes sense that they are done already.
Makes sense for sure, especially if there's no Flutter main of some sort.
Look at
Did
this.
you see Chip?
Rahul just read the wind, and that's
wow.
it. We were talking about what happened on the floor. We missed all of Rahul's turn.
Which wasn't a lot.
No, attach energy, read the wind. We're Lugia gaming now.
Are we gonna head to a quick game 3 after 3 turns total, Chip?
I mean, it is definitely possible. Zach Lesage could very much win the game this turn. Giratina V-Star is already in the discard pile. Lost Impact would be more than enough to deal with the 220 HP of Lugia V. Rahul hoping for a higher power here to hang on for just a little bit longer.
I wanted to touch upon Rahul's prizes. He did prize the Legacy Energy and 2 double Turbo Energy, which could go into effect in terms of like reducing the possibility of Weird Year getting big damage. There's also the Fezentipity prize as well, which could have been impactful in a long game. But the chances of us seeing a long game doesn't seem too big right now.
I don't know what Zach Lesage has here, to be honest. He looks like he's retreating into the Regidrago, and is going to be Night Stretcher to bring back a Grass Energy in order to Teal Dance draw 1. This is desperate times right here.
Oh, I think he's just making the most use out of what he has, yeah. This does mean he's 1 Energy Switch and 1 Regidrago V-Star away from knocking out. And of course, if he finds the Regidrago V-Star, he gets an extra reach into the deck. Now choosing to only grab 1 energy, it's the one he can attach, so he's looking at 2 cards from Restart, 7 from Research, and if he finds a Regidrago plus whatever else he can thin the deck with, we're looking at potentially 14 to 15 cards this turn, Chip.
Wow, yeah, there's a huge opportunity here for Zach Lesage, a Regidrago V-Star and an Energy Switch. Those are the 2 cards he needs to find, and he's able to find them in any order, which is really nice for him at this point as well. Attachment for turn, Restart, drawing 2 cards. There's a Grass Energy, there's a Fire.
Right.
Not something he needs. Here comes the Research, 7 cards to be drawn. Does he find those pieces? At a minimum, Regidrago V-Star would let him continue to dig a couple of Nest Balls, and I don't see it.
No, I mean, no Regidrago V-Star.
No anything.
No anything, yeah.
It doesn't have an Ultra Ball, doesn't have an Energy to keep drawing with another Teal Mask Ogrepon EX. Is he going to use Celestial Roar, potentially?
I mean, I would imagine so. It doesn't really accomplish too much. The Radiant Gardevoir is pretty key here. Like, if you're not going to be able to win right now, the Gardevoir does protect the Regidrago V from Lugia's attack. Now you can no longer do 220 damage. It's 200 maximum by Regidrago enjoys that minus 20 protection, which is very key. But yeah, no lock here for Zach. I don't even think you risk the Celestial Roar. Like, one extra energy doesn't really help you too much at this point in time, and you could end up discarding key pieces like a supporter, energy switches, the Regidrago V-Stars themselves. So, I mean, you could do it, probably not worth the risk. You gotta hope the next research does it for you. But so far for Rahul, not a single Arceus in the discard pile, which is very, very important. So even though Zach missed, I think he still has a big advantage right here.
A little bit of an unfortunate miss, but yes, he is definitely still in a very solid spot. Will choose to switch into the Mew EX. Now that is something that could be KO'd by a Lugia V-Star. What do you think of this?
That is very peculiar for sure. Also could allow Rahul to go like boss on the energy-less Regidrago and potentially trap it. So, I mean, maybe he thought he could still restart and then realized it. I'm not entirely sure, but now we're going to see Rahul actually get to play the game. This could have been the fastest 2 games of Pokemon this weekend, Chip.
Rahul doing his first deck search. We'll take a moment to just check a couple prizes. Actually going to choose to fail the Earthen Vessel. Does not want to get that lightning energy out. And is going to Summoning Star just for the one single Archeops. This is never the spot you want to be in as a Lugia V-Star player.
Also utilizing that mist energy onto the active, the single copy. So Haxor is now not able to take a knockout on the Lugia V-Star. The V-Guard energy also protecting from Lost Impact. And Zach just handing Rahul the first 2 prizes. This went from really bad to potentially really good for Rahul Reddy.
Now, as Zach here, what do you prioritize? Is it worth really chasing after that only Archeops in play, or do you really want to try to deal with this Lugia V-Star that's already become so threatening?
I reckon you try to dig for that Temple of Sinnoh, because what's Rahul going to do with 2 energies? Like, there's nothing that's really effective to attack with, nothing that really threatens you. If you take out 4 energies from play, I think instead of looking at it as going after the Arceus, it's like you're taking away 4 energies, leaving him with 2, right? As opposed to go after the Arceus, you leave 4 energy in play, you leave 4 potentially threatening energies as well.
Yeah, and with that V-Guard energy, Lost Impact won't be an option either. Haxorus can't bring down the Axe. So it's going to have to be Temple of Sinnoh found. Now, Zach was able to draw into Regidrago V-Star. We're going to do some teal dances, and that is certainly the big card to find here. Can Zach find his one-of copy of Temple of Sinnoh?
I mean, last time he couldn't find a single grass energy when he played 7. I don't fancy my chances of finding my 1 copy of Temple of Sinnoh.
We're going for it, though. 7 cards from the top. This could be game-winning, and he hits it. What a draw. A ton of energy to hit the discard pile. But Zach does have access to Superior Energy Retrieval to recover those. And immediately he knows, yeah, Temple of Sinnoh has got to be my first grab.
It's the card you're absolutely looking forward to in this situation. Prime Catcher also looks like a nice pick as well. V-Star exhausted. A lot of resources gone, but your opponent has 2 Pokemon in play. I think you're feeling pretty good at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it is an aggressive line, but you are leaving your opponent with very, very little. It's going to be difficult for Rahul to fight back from this position. We do see Superior Energy Retrieval does fetch quite a few of those energy cards from the discard pile, bringing them back into the hand. Teal Dance can happen for Teal Mask Ogre Pawn number 2. Draw a little bit more. Temple of Sinnoh being put into play. And let's draw a card here. And with those energies active, no longer, thanks to Temple of Sinnoh, Zach Lesage will get 2 prizes. And sure enough, Haxorus brings down the axe and leaves Rahul Reddy with just an Archeops, and we're going to Game 3.
We're going to Game 3. This game lasted 1 extra turn than we expected it to, but Rahul recognizing this situation, and now we have so much time left in the round. But honestly, I mean, both of these decks are very aggressive. Games are very back and forth. I'm really hoping both players get to set up this time around.
Yeah, we have not seen a proper game, I would say, up to this point. Neither of these players drawing the best to get things rolling. You know, Rahul got it out of the way in game 2. Zach got it out of the way in game number 1. Maybe that means we're due for a great one here for the final win in in-game.
I feel like destiny should balance things out, right? The universe should balance things out and allow us to get a good, long, decision, intense game 3. That would be the dream here for me, Chip, to close out Swiss rounds in day 2, yeah, round 12. We do have one more update, I believe, a couple more updates from the ground by our executive Puka over on the floor. Let us know, Chip.
Yeah, field reporter Puka letting us know Jesse and Taisei going into game 3. Hayato and Ian Robb also going into game 3. Those are both win and in matches. Let's recap that game number 2 really quick. I know it was pretty brief. Zach had a much better go of things in this game, though, than he did in game number 1. A pretty strong setup, and all Rahul had on his first turn is read the wind. Almost reminiscent of, you know, the good old Giratina days of Abyss Seeking, right?
Pretty much. Thank you for reminding me of those brilliant days, Chip. Now, Zach did miss that Reggie Drago Vistar, did not miss after the second research, and Legacy V-Star finding the Temple of Sinnoh, bringing it back, and then using the axe to take down that Lugia V-Star and head into a quick game 3. So a little bit of poetic justice, right? Zach had that horrible game 1, which could have been extended a little bit, but Rahul's board was looking pretty powerful. Didn't even wait to see if he had the Lugia V-Star, and then Rahul just with a completely mediocre start in game 2, leading us to this very quick game 3. Now, plenty of time to find a winner in this one, right? Almost half an hour. Both of these decks are very aggressive. Both of these decks are very back and forth. Who are you fancying, Chip?
Well, at this point, Rahul is, having lost game number 2, going to get to choose to go first, I would have to imagine. And in this matchup where both of your main attackers are V-Star Pokemon, we are having a bit of a showdown from Silver Tempest here. I have to favor Rahul at least slightly at this point. We are getting some more updates from field reporter Puka out there. Shinosuke Shigokawa is in with Roaring Moon EX, able to defeat Tom Hellenkamp from the US with Iron Thorns. Let's get into it. Game number 3. Not a great start for either of these players. Pheasantipity EX on the side of Rahul Reddy. Not the worst. I mean, its attack is actually pretty decent. Can be powered up pretty quickly for Lugia. And Zach Lesage, though, starting that Kyurem, less than ideal.
Duel of the Shrouded Fable Pokemon from the new set. Of course, Pheasantipity being a little bit more useful for Rahul than Kyurem in this situation. There is a universe where Kyurem's attack can be copied to take down Minchinos, to take down Arceuses that have been pinged before by Phantom Dive, and very strong start. Ultra Ball away double Arceus is very, very big here.
I mean, that is the hand that every Lugia player dreams of. That is the hand that all of my Lugia opponents have when I play versus them. Ultra Ball away to Archeops, grabbing that Lugia V, and has the Lugia V-Star already in the hand. Now we are over to Zach Lesage with that Ultra Ball. Does discard the Haxorus. We've seen how impactful it can be, but what does Zach have to follow up this Ultra Ball, searching the deck for any Pokemon?
I couldn't tell from his hand what he has going for him. Doesn't seem like much, so I think we might just see a Squawkabilly choice here to just reset the hand, refresh, but you're staring down double Arceus already in the discard pile. You're staring down the Lugia. The Pheasantipity is ready to retreat. Rahul Reddy has pretty much everything he could hope for at this point, and Zach doesn't know it. You mentioned the Lugia V-Star is already there, so it would be really good for Zach if he could find an Iono here.
And that is the Squawkabilly being grabbed. Squawk and C is able to discard the hand to draw 6 fresh new cards. We are getting crazy updates from the floor right now. Looks like Jesse Parker was able to defeat Taisei Ito and move to 12-0 at the World Championships. Undefeated after what sounds like a very strong turn 1 prime catcher into Amphu, very much KOing the only Lugia V in play for Taisei.
Unstoppable Jesse Parker with that Rhydon deck, as we see the Nest Ball getting played, Reggie Drago getting established, Zach trying to keep up with Rahul's power hand, but that Squawk didn't give him any energies, gave him a bunch of Pokemon that are probably not very useful at this point in time. So I think Zach really needs to hope that Rahul, even if he has a Lugia, doesn't have a boss follow-up onto this Regidrago V.
And there is the Regidrago V being brought down from that nest ball. Zach Lesage looking for some energy cards to be put into play, and I actually don't see any in this hand. Does have Mew EX, is going to need to use this restart ability. Oh no, has 3 cards in hand, but that research in order to discard, draw 7 new ones.
I missed the research in his hand. Now, these 7 cards are going to be powerful. Did lose Night Stretcher, already Haxorus in the discard pile. Did lose a Regidrago V-Star, so depending on the prizes, that could affect him a little bit, but so far so good. Probably wants a backup Regidrago if he can, just in case there's the boss's orders play, but doesn't seem like he'll be able to accomplish that right here.
One more update from the floor. It does look like James Goring is going into Top Cut with Raging Bolt EX, able to defeat Ryan Harris at our 3rd table, moving to 31 match points with, of course, that Raging Bolt from Australia. And now it will be Zach Lesage passing things over to Rahul Reddy, who immediately is able to evolve Lugia V into Lugia V-Star, has the Jet Energy. But what does he want to do here? You know, when in doubt, just go ahead and flip that V-Star marker, put a couple Archeops in play, and Primal Turbo.
Yeah, I mean, I like powering up this Lugia V-Star with that Mist Energy, with the V-Guard Energy. However, the V-Guard Energy is priced this time around, so you're safe from the Axe, but you're not safe from Giratina V-Star's Lost Impact attack. Now, I like this choice by Rahul, choosing to power up the Lugia before researching his hand away, just to make sure that he minimizes the amount of energy that he will draw, but not overdoing it, right? By not using both Archeops before the research. Now the crowd going wild with that Professor Research, 7 fresh new cards.
Yeah, totally going wild for the research and not for Pokemon Unite happening right behind us.
Not at all, nope.
But with research, 7 fresh cards found for Rahul Reddy and plenty of options off of this. We've yet to see a Chinchino hit the field for Rahul. Is this time to try to maybe establish a Minchino to get that powerful 1 prize attacker in play?
Yeah, knocking out this Kyurem doesn't really do him any favors, although there is a possibility that Rahul could go 1-3 with Iron Hands and then 2 on any of these Pokemon. So could be important, but even more important, having them in Chino potentially down. But that Iron Bundle chip, what's that Iron Bundle going to do for him?
That Iron Bundle is going to get Kyurem out of the active spot and force Zach to send up one of these 2 prize Pokemon. Almost certainly just going to be the Squawkabilly getting KO'd. You know, it's done its job. Unfortunately for Zach, will go down, but that is a huge card inclusion here for Rahul Reddy. That Hyper Blower ability coming in super nice.
And can possibly still establish that Minchino. There we have it, that Ultra Ball. Dream start for Rahul Reddy here. Still needs 1 more energy on the active to be able to attack. Now I wonder if before the Ultra Ball, before you use your Primal Turbo, do you play the Hyper Blower, right, to give a little bit less information to your opponent before they make their decision? Now, even though it's pretty obvious. I agree, it's pretty obvious, but I don't know. Like, I think being in the rhythm of doing that every time will make sure that you don't give any extra information in a different situation where it could potentially matter. Yeah,
I think that is totally fair to point out, though it is pretty inconsequential at this point.
Yep.
Rahul is going to be content to take this KO with the Tempest Dive. 2 prizes for Rahul Reddy. Able to find that V-Guard energy. A little bit too late, though. One more update from the floor as Zach Lesage is kicking off his turn. Michael Davidson has defeated Kaiwin Kababe from Australia, so Michael Davidson will be moving in to Top Cut. He has been one of the great young players this season, a first-year master in North America, and has had an excellent season thus far with multiple deep runs at regional championships, so he's looking to cap it off in a mighty way at Worlds.
Mighty way indeed, Chip. What a way to close out the season. 2025 season has already started, but we are going to crown the ultimate champion tomorrow. And it could be one of these 2 players, right?
It absolutely could be, and if Zach Lesage wants it to be him, he's going to need to pick it up here. Starts off with the Teal Dance, draws a card off of that, and also attaches an extra energy into play. Attachment for turn goes into the Regidrago V. Needs to find an energy switch. Wow, he's playing 2 Canceling Cologne?
2 Canceling Cologne. Really wants to get use of that Kyurem against everything. Now, we do see an Iono instead of the research trying to be a bit more conservative. Did not play the second canceling clone, which I would wonder what he's
I don't think he
saving
can.
it for. Oh,
right?
you can't play two cancel?
Yeah, because it wouldn't have an effect, right? You can't play a trainer if it's known to have no effect, right? It's already turning off the active's ability. Is that how it works? I would imagine so.
I mean, it makes sense. Yeah, I've definitely never been in a situation where I had the opportunity to play two canceling clones. Now, Zach did find the Temple of Sinnoh, so he can bring down the axe. I'm pretty sure that's what prompted him to read the Fezandipity. He's wondering, if I knock out through an effect of an attack, right, which is bring down the axe, will Fezandipity EX activate it? And I believe the answer is yes, because it's any knockout. It doesn't matter whether it's by damage counters, effects of attacks, or damage. Is if your opponent took a knockout during their turn, you get a 3 extra card. You get to potentially use the ability and draw 3 extra cards, because you can even take an your opponent can take a KO with Dustmore, for example, and you still get to draw the 3 cards, and that wasn't an attack of any sort.
Right, it is during your opponent's last turn. You know, very crucial wording, and you know, if you've been around the Pokemon TCG a lot, you know that the details are ever important, right? The key wording there being knocked out, not knocked out by damage or anything like that. Zach now able to establish the second Regidrago V. We have not seen the use of the V-Star marker yet. He does need to find an energy switch to pull off the attack here. Looks like just a couple cards in hand. Does have access to Muse restarts. Has that Temple of Sinnoh. We will see that be put into play. 2 cards from the restart. I think Zach would love to save the Legacy Star if he could. Did he find energy switch?
He was not able to. Found a pretty powerful card in Prime Catcher, but I think you likely still just go after this Lugia V-Star. However, perhaps if you Legacy Star and discard the Hawlucha, you could play the Hawlucha, use Flying Entry, put 1 damage counter on the Minccino and the Fezandipity, and then knock out Fezandipity and Minccino, which is the big threat. However, you see the Fezandipity get promoted through the Prime Catcher to the active spot before the Legacy Star has been utilized, and the Fezandipity does have that double turbo, so it could end up being discarded or knocked out by Bring Down the Axe as well.
Yeah, and I think what Zach is thinking through here is he wanted to make sure he could bring back his Prime Catcher, right? That's why he's using Prime Catcher before the use of that Legacy Star V-Star power. Not able to pull off the play he would have maybe liked to otherwise, but it's still going to be pretty solid, and did hit the energy switch.
The Hawlucha was in the discard pile already, so he could have gotten a 3-price turn and eliminated the Minccino, but that does leave a lot of energies in play, which Zach might know that there's a weirder threat at this point.
Yeah, that is definitely true. The Weird Deer could be coming in.
Oh, there was no space on the bench. He benched the Regidrago this turn. Yeah, so there was no space on the bench for the Hawlucha. Never mind.
And it will be the Bring Down the Axe, KOing the Fezandipity EX. That means Rahul will not be able to flip the script, will not be able to draw any extra cards. Fezandipity going down to the discard pile, but plenty of energy cards left into play. Let's see what Rahul Reddy does with it. Flips a coin with that Capturing Aroma. It is the Tails. Is it time for Weird Deer V? Potentially no. Luminion V to grab. Luminous Sign able to search the deck for any supporter card and add it to the hand. What is Rahul thinking to go for here?
No Radiant Gardevoir does mean any 2-prizer on the bench is in range of Lugia V-Star, right? Just go down to 2 prizes. That Ursaluna also potentially can take 2 prizes. Rahul could try to just completely bypass the Regidrago and take down any of the Ogerpons or the Mew or the current Regidrago V. So Rahul has a very clear path, the 2-2-2. It's on Zach to stop that from happening.
One more update from the floor. Ian Robb defeats Hayato Suzuki in order to move to 30 match points. Ian Robb's Regidrago able to defeat Charizard EX. Ian, of course, a 2nd place finisher in the juniors division. Back at Worlds in 2012 in Hawaii. He's looking to make another finals run.
He could generally recreate that photo or go one better with where he's currently at. So pretty cool to see as we see Rahul rushing through his turn. We're going to see the Ursaluna get powered up. Did grab the Luminion, hasn't grabbed the boss just yet. Just trying to establish enough threats, get those gift energy going, try to make sure that he finds the boss's orders as well next turn.
I think Rahul can sense that he's in a very good position here, and he just wants to play as carefully as possible, make the correct call to ensure that he is the one who can come out on top in this game. And sure enough, Luminion finds boss's orders. Zach gives the thumbs up. I'm sure he doesn't truly mean it. He's not truly happy to see the boss's orders, but it will be Rahul's ability to take 2 more prizes, and it's going to be on to Zach to find a way to stop this.
What can you do at this point, though? I guess bring down the axe does stop the gift energy from activating, but there's no more Temple of Sinnoh, so the mist energy is active for Rahul. We do see the boss's orders onto that energy attached. Ogre Pawn just going for a quick 2-2-2. You don't need to go after the Regidrago. You don't need to focus on KOing it. And the Cinccino is still threatening. However, it does have a double turbo, so its damage is reduced to the point where it wouldn't be able to knock out Regidrago V-Star itself.
I mean, and this board from Rahul is looking near checkmate scenario. Zach Lesage looking at the resources expended, wondering what could he possibly do. Is there a stall angle? You can see it on his face. He's scrambling, he's looking, trying to find any path to victory, and this is what makes good players great players. What makes that separation is he's looking for any possibility, any alternate win condition, and I just don't know if Rahul has left an opening.
We'll see what he can piece together. The Radiant Gardevoir probably less relevant at this point in time. I mean, it does protect Regidrago and Ogre Pawn from Lugia, but it doesn't protect them from Ursaluna or a fully powered up Cinccino.
Yeah, there's just a little too much happening here. Cinccino is still hiding in the prize
it's
cards.
The only copy too.
Yeah, just that 1-1 line coming back to bite Rahul here a little bit maybe, but I mean, I think he's gonna have plenty of options to close this out. We'll see though. I mean, if Zach Lesage can find a way, that would be extremely impressive. He does have Prime Catcher in his hand, one of the most powerful cards in his entire deck. I don't think he can utilize it here at this point to any good effect. I mean, dealing with this active Lugia seems like the best course of action. Does he even really have a good way to do it? Looks like the answer is no, and that means Rahul Reddy gets the win on this win-and-in match to move into top cut at the 2024 World Championships.
Going up to, is it 31 match points or 20 or 30?
30 match points.
30.